Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, my friends. In today's video, we are talking Terry Bogard. So just the other day, we talked about Mai Shiranui and how she might play in Street Fighter 6. And today, well, it's Terry's turn to talk about how he might play in Street Fighter 6. Now, Terry, just like Mai, has been in a million hojillion games. Both home franchise SNK games like Fatal Fury and King of Fighters, but also some more oddballs. Terry's got some experience in showing up in games and franchises where you think it might not be the easiest fit for him to work with, but actually he translates very well, and I think he will translate very well into Street Fighter 6. For the Mai video, there was some things where I think Mai has some specific character traits where she either won't gel easily or simply is just too strong for classic Street Fighter. And Terry has that a little bit, but I think overall, he's actually going to be a wonderful fit for Street Fighter. Terry and his moveset and how it works is kind of a wonderful all-rounder fit for just about any fighter. Now, is Terry a Shoto? Well, you can argue that in the comments. I'll let you go crazy about that one. Maybe, maybe not. But just the essence of how he works, for the most part, is just applicable to like standard fighting game logic. So let's talk about it and how he would work in a Street Fighter context. Though a quick note on some of the universal stuff first. So just like the Mai video, one of the core things about SNK games compared to, say, Capcom Street Fighter games specifically, is more freedom of movement, right? So runs, we have hops, which are much shorter jumps compared to like a regular jump, and therefore this lets kind of offense flow a lot more crazily, right? Of course, that's not a good or bad thing, because Street Fighter is Street Fighter because it's a slower game, right? You wouldn't want Street Fighter to be necessarily as fast as like King of Fighters. Now, one thing about the run note I do want to mention, because some people were confused in the Mai video though. When I mention how the characters can't run, there is, yes, indeed, Street Fighter analogs for runs. People mention like Ken or Rashid, and those analogs, well, they don't quite play the same. Someone like Ken's run, like, it's very limited. It only goes like a set amount. You can't stop it early, and you only have like fixed options from it, right? Like, those options aren't necessarily bad. Like, some of them are actually quite good, but you have like a multiple points is very fixed. Someone like Rashid, who is more comparable to King of Fighters because he can actually just like run, at least, well, for a little bit. He will eventually stop. But even then, it's still not the same. Like, his run, since it's off the back of his dash, he has to complete the dash first before you can do anything. And that's kind of the issue. And of course, you guys, like, the can attacks out of it, and you can run, then like hold back and then cancel out and like do another move, yes. And yes, you can like run, then hit back to cancel out of the run, then hit a button, but that requires additional inputs, right? But that's one of the big problems, is you can't do anything out of the run right away because you're stuck in those pre-dash frames, and then you have to do additional things. And then there's just the fact that it's much slower. In comparison, an SNK style run is actually much stronger because you can cancel the run immediately. I am running right now, and then canceling basically on effectively like just the first frame. That's the freedom what a King of Fighters SNK style run gives you. And there's just nothing like that in Street Fighter. So it lets you just dash up and do just quick offense, and it's just much more powerful. So when I'm talking SNK style runs versus like what options that are rarely available in Street Fighter, this is what I mean. Just the fact that you can just cancel out of a run, do anything you want immediately, is just something that's not offered in Street Fighter. When I'm talking about runs, I think all y'all get what I mean when there's no hops, because short jumps are too strong for Street Fighter. But when there's no running, what I mean is just no SNK style running. I don't expect Terry or Mai to have anything like that, just because as it exists in the SNK games, it's just stronger as a concept than anything that's allowed in Street Fighter. So while I think they'll definitely do their best to faithfully transfer Terry and Mai over, sure, stuff that just is alien to Street Fighter, like short hops, like runs as they stand in SNK games, no dice. Terry will jump normally, and when you hit forward, he'll just do a dash like everybody else. Now, when it comes to special moves specifically, what will make it in? Well, Terry has a wider range of classic specials, with which I expect pretty much all of them to make it into Street Fighter. It would almost be weird if they didn't. One of them being the Power Wave, his classic projectile. Now, Power Wave usually comes in one of two forms: a stock projectile. Sometimes it'll explode right away. It changes game to game. Sometimes certain games have both versions as well. Now, compared to the more stock Street Fighter Fireball, the biggest thing you're probably noticing is, hey, it's traveling along the ground. Not unheard of in Street Fighter, like say Jury does it, right? It's actually fairly common in SNK games, because in SNK games you can hop. So generally lower to the ground projectiles have the weakness of the fact that you can hop them versus committing to a full jump, so they're not as scary to get around. Of course, Street Fighter, that's not necessarily the same thing. It would still clash with a regular projectile. However, one of the strengths, just like Jury's Fireball, that means unlike other normal fireballs, you wouldn't be able to low profile it. So say like Aki going underneath the fireball, or Blanca sliding under the fireball. Against Power Wave, no dice. Unless they radically change how the move works, it just won't work that way in Street Fighter 6. So it'll probably be a pretty decent projectile, all things told. Another classic is the Burn Knuckle, where Terry will basically just launch himself forward, his fists wrapped in some sort of energy, some sort of key, and well then just kind of bop you on the head. Honestly, the thing this is most analogous to in Street Fighter anyways is probably Sumo Headbutt. Usually in SNK games you can space it to make it safe on block, and if it's a motion in Street Fighter, you better be able to space it perfectly. Because just flinging yourself across the screen for free and getting in for free and being safe on block, usually frowned in Street Fighter. Although Ken has Dragon Lash, so who even knows, right? Who even knows? Ken has Dragon Lash, that's plus on block. How they'll probably do it is the light version is just real quick, goes only a little distance, but the heavier versions, usually Terry will fling his arms out before going for the heavier versions of the move. So they'll do that and make sure it's extra announced, so you'll have proper amount of time to parry it when it comes in. That's my logic going into the move. Another classic is the Rising Tackle. Very odd looking move as he turns upside down like a screw and goes upwards, but it's his traditional reversal, his analog to a Dragon Punch. Now the thing is, for the majority of Terry's existence, it was always a charge move. However, as of the King of Fighters 15, it is now a traditional Dragon Punch motion, and I expect it to be a Dragon Punch motion in Street Fighter 6. It being a charge move always kind of clashed with his all-rounder move set, so just being a Dragon Punch motion is fine. It worked out. It's not a problem. In fact, it made his life so much easier as far as combo ability goes in KOF 15. So I expect that to be in Street Fighter 6, and other than it being what you would expect a traditional reversal to be, I don't expect it to be much more. It'll be a reversal. You can probably use it as combo fodder sometimes. As a multi-hitting attack, I hope it's not as prone to random drops like it's usually been over the years, where you'll get one part of it and then the rest doesn't connect. Hopefully that's fixed. But other than that, yeah, stock reversal, easy peasy. Another super core move for Terry is the Crack Shoot. This is his analogy to the Hurricane Kick, I guess. Not quite one-to-one though. But yeah, he'll kind of flip over on his head and hit you with his foot coming back down. Lots of times it can be overheads as well. Usually he gets good, pressure, filler, that kind of stuff. Honestly, of all the main core specials, I could see this one just being turned into a command normal, just like forward heavy kick or something like that. Indeed it is a core move, but it's not his iconic move. And when it comes for moves leaping in the air, well, we got a much more important one. And that would be the Power Dunk. Terry leaps up into the air, and if he's close enough to the enemy, he'll take him with him up into the air, and then just absolutely dunks the enemy down to the ground. Now, canonically, FYI, Terry is a basketball player, so this is why he has such powerful dunking abilities. In Terry's case, white men can jump, although in Street Fighter 6 they won't be able to hop. And actually, in a lot of games, he'll turn his hat backwards while doing it, just to show that he's an extra cool guy like that. So good for just honestly neutral skipping, because you're just jumping above the screen and above all the BS on the neutral lane. And generally, it's also a very strong combo ender, very strong combo extender in games that have EX, very core for say any combo structure in KOF 15 or KOF 14. Definitely one of his most iconic moves, and it would be actually shocking if this move did not make it into Street Fighter 6. People love them a Power Dunk. Now, for the most part, Terry doesn't deviate from the core moveset too much. Sometimes you'll have oddballs like the Bird Knuckle Punch, but as a double attack. That was kind of a one-off deal. Power Charge, the big shoulder, is probably the most common unlikely move. I don't expect that to make it into Street Fighter 6. Like even in many SNK games, it's never treated too much as a priority. Like it's tossed into like his Rekka series and Goro, or as part of his top attack. Like it appears every now and then, but it's never like been a classic Terry move. I feel pretty safe in that Street Fighter 6 Terry will be sticking to the classics. Now, what about his super moves? Everyone needs 3 supers in Street Fighter 6. So for as far as a level 1 goes, I feel like the Power Geyser is pretty much a lock. So Power Geyser, it changes form every now and then. Basically take Power Wave and then just amp it up a lot, right? Sometimes he does it as one big hit, sometimes it's multiple hits, but basically he punch ground real hard and big explosions happen. It is not treated as a projectile like say the regular Power Wave is. So if it's a more up close super, you could expect it to probably be a little bit faster, like 7 or 8 frames, something like that. So good for damage in all the ways a level 1 would be, and maybe if it's a little bit quicker, good for get off me in situations where you're burned out. Now for the level 2, I believe this is where the iconic Buster Wolf will go. And, you know, some would argue that it's so iconic that it should be the level 3. The thing about that is, as we'll talk about when we talk about level 3s, SNK games don't treat Buster Wolf like Terry's big be-all, end-all attack. So if SNK doesn't treat it that way, why should Street Fighter? Certainly very good, right? Don't get me wrong, right? It should be given the appropriate respect it deserves, and probably should be treated like M. Bison's upcoming Psycho Punisher level 2, as in it's a good gotcha super, right? So good range, controls all of the screen, you can buffer in the input, and if I catch you whiffing anything, throwing a fireball, whatever, haha, are you okay? And then boom, Buster Wolf. It should be appropriately good. If Terry's got 2 bars, he should probably hold you hostage a little bit mid-screen, make people think twice about what buttons they're gonna press. Like we're coming off hot with Akuma, right? You know, the Raging Demon, they gave it extra love and care. Buster Wolf is about just as important as Raging Demon. It's one of the most important special moves in all of fighting game history. But that said, once again, I do think it'll be a level 2 super, not a level 3 super. Generally in SNK game history, Terry's ultimate, like truly like this is the be-all end-all move, is usually another form of Power Geyser. A really big, really special F-off version of Power Geyser, but still like kind of the next evolution of Power Geyser, not the Buster Wolf. Like even his most recent incarnation, which is so recent, it'll come out after the Street Fighter 6 version of Terry. His hidden gear, like the Ultra Cinematic Super, right, is having you stuck in a tornado while he delivers a Power Geyser to you inside the tornado. He still has Buster Wolf, but it's a more regular special, not his be-all, end-all super. So when it comes to the big cinematic level 3 in Street Fighter 6, the one you're going to be seeing quite a bit, I expect it to be a Power Geyser somewhat akin to like a nuclear bomb going off. Now, when it comes to Terry just overall translating to Street Fighter 6, like we made the video, I feel there's some things that just, they gotta give, right? Certain things are too strong for Street Fighter. I think for Terry, it's gonna be a pretty easy translation, all things told. The one thing, and we're gonna use King of Fighters 15 as our basis here, because King of Fighters 15, well, it has EX moves, right? Terry doesn't exist in many games with EX moves. He's an old school guy and it goes way back, right? And EX moves for Terry are a more modern concept. So stuff like, you know, your Power Waves in Street Fighter 6, I'd expect it to work kind of like KO 15, just does multi-hits, does a knockdown, kind of the usual EX Fireball fare, nothing too special. We got our Burn Knuckles here. EX Burn Knuckle, probably a safe bet, same way, just quicker, if it hits you, good splat. In the Street Fighter context, probably either hard knockdown or leaves you close enough you can just do a quick dash for like Oki and for pressure after. Makes sense once again. Crack Shoot, once again, I can see Crack Shoot getting relegated to command normals. Terry has a lot of good command normals, by the way, over the years. Like his back fist, just for more reach. His upper, in King of Fighters context, the upper is very important. Because, you know, close heavy, command normal, do your like usual combo structure stuff. So I can see him having a lot of that, just very powerful command normals. And once again, Crack Shoot, yeah, it's normally special, but considering, you know, Dunk is a thing, I don't know, it could be a special, it could also be a command normal. And speaking of normals, actually, Terry generally has pretty proficient normals, like Crouch Heavy is usually good, Stand Heavy is good, Stand Heavy Kick in a lot of games is godlike. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that M. Bison's the next character, this is like M. Bison's Stand Heavy Kick in Street Fighter 4, if you played that. This move in a lot of games is dominant. And King of Fighters 15 version, you're seeing here, you know, it's got the range, right? It's not even the best version of the move. So when it comes to just general normals, footsies, hitting buttons, all that kind of stuff, I expect Terry to have an above average normal game with his general suite of command normals and just his general stock normals. For Power Dunk, I expect it to be kind of the neutral skip option, probably similar to like Ken's Dragon Lash or something. That's the thing, you know, with that, Burn Knuckle, Crack Shoot, also like be a low crush. He has a lot of opportunities to just kind of skip neutral. Once again, it comes from, you know, SNK games where these things are a lot faster than Street Fighter. So that's going to be one of the more interesting ways to see how he's changed to fit the Street Fighter system. I could see Power Dunk being just generally plus on block. Considering it's so slow, you have the chance to just, you know, try to perfect parry, catch the parry, right? So that would be kind of the balancing factor around it. And again, for combo structure, usually it hits when you're up close, right? In King of Fighters 15, the enhanced version, also just really strong combo extender, gives you a free bounce. I could see it working much the same way in Street Fighter 6. This is definitely one of those make or break moves though, because I could definitely see them over tweaking it just a little bit, where in the context of KOF, it's not that big of a deal, but in Street Fighter, it could very well be a big deal. And I mentioned Power Charge earlier in the video, the big shoulder. Honestly, I can just see them skipping the move. It's not that big of a deal for Terry just as a whole. It's not one of the iconic moves. I could see it honestly just being like his like drive reverse animation or something. Like you block drive reverse and then he does like the equivalent of the Power Charge as a get off me move. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. It's not as important as Power Wave or Burn Knuckle or Dunk or Rising Tackle, which once again, I do believe will be a Dragon Punch motion. Traditionally, over the years, yes, it's been a charge move, but you can see here, most modern rendition of the character, KOF 15, it is a charge motion. And I guess in the most modern rendition of the character, which is City of the Wolves, he doesn't even have it, because Terry gave the move to Rock. Rock is the one who does Rising Tackle in City of the Wolves, so Terry doesn't even have the move. So I expect it to work just like a regular Dragon Punch, honestly, for the most part. But yeah, in the end, I don't know, but I anticipate Terry just to be another really strong, solid all-rounder, right? Just good specials, good screen control, good normals, just kind of good everything, right? He's going to be the everyman character. Mai's going to be a little bit different. Mai will be a little bit heavier on speed and zoning. Mai traditionally has really bad defense. She doesn't really, well, except for a couple versions, doesn't have anything like a Dragon Punch equivalent. Terry will just kind of have everything for everybody. Mai will be a bit more of a specialist character. That's my thought anyways. And that's about it for my thoughts on Terry. The only other thing I really got to add is, I bet I know what his first two costumes are going to be. Because Terry, more than anyone else in the history of fighting game, is like the one character where he has two equally valid costumes. Nobody thinks as Bomber Jacket Terry as the alt. Regular Terry with the cap, Bomber Jacket Terry, they're both perfectly valid. Now, third costume, I don't know. Then we're leaving safe harbor. Who knows what the third costume will be. But yeah, you'll definitely get Classic Terry with the hat, Classic Terry with the Bomber Jacket, and we'll go from there. And you know what? Grand scheme of things, Terry's not that far away, right? Bison, as the time of this video, is coming out in less than a week. And I'm sure probably around Evo time, we'll get our Terry trailer, and we'll see what he looks like, and he'll be out sometime not too long after then, I bet. But for now, that is my videos. Those are my thoughts. If you have any thoughts on the matter as well, I would love to hear it. But for now, even though we're in King of Fighters 15, thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.
Yeah.